Vail is one of the most famous mountain towns out there, and it's best known for its world-class ski resort. But when the snow melts, it transforms into a summer paradise filled with alpine meadows, wildflower-covered slopes, and endless hiking opportunities. And it's also a top destination for chasing fall colors, but today we'll be focusing on Vail in the summer. Vail offers some of the most scenic and accessible hiking trails in the Rockies during the warmer months. From the family-friendly paths to challenging alpine lakes, there's a trail here for everyone. In this video, I'm going to be sharing the top 10 hikes to do in and around Vail so you can make sure to get the most of your mountain getaway. Before starting, I want to note that Vail has a hiker shuttle. Some of the trailheads in the area have limited parking, so Vail has implemented a detailed bus schedule that will take you from town to any and all trailheads, and it's free. So this is a very convenient way to hike the trails here if you can't get a parking spot. First up on the list is Gore Lake, a stunning but difficult hike clocking in at 12 miles round trip with 2,900 feet of elevation gain. This is the namesake alpine lake of the Gore Mountain range. It's such an interesting area to me because it's so close to Denver and the trailheads are very accessible, being right off of I-70, but trails like Gore Lake seem to not always get a ton of foot traffic. Maybe it's because of the big hiking specs, but if you're looking for a beautiful alpine lake hike with lots of mountain goats, then this is the trail for you. Next up, we're heading to Piney River Lake, and by association, we're also going to see Piney River Ranch, arguably one of the most beautiful wedding venues in Vail. This is geographically north of Vail, and while it's not that far, it does take roughly 45 minutes of driving to get there. The road is a dirt road, and it's hard to say whether any car can make this drive. Maybe if conditions were right, a sedan could make it, otherwise you will need clearance to make it all the way up there. But it is awesome because you can drive all the way to the lake and there's no hiking needed. This place is stunning, and we really enjoyed sunrise here before the crowds. At number 3, we're going to be using Piney River Lake as a trailhead as we hike our way to Upper Piney Falls, a beautiful waterfall tucked just a few miles behind the lake. This is a relatively easy to moderate hike, clocking in at 5.9 miles round trip with about 675 feet of elevation gain. The elevation gain is spread out through the hike, so it's not overly steep. The trail also continues on to a much bigger hike, up to Knee Knocker Saddle and then further to Mount Powell 13er. Sadly, we didn't have time on our trip to do this larger hike, but it looks epic, and even just the waterfall is worth the outing. Next up, we're hiking to Deluj Lake. This is probably my favorite alpine lake in the greater Vail area, although it is a very steep hike at altitude, so this is a tiring one. The trail is 8.5 miles round trip with 3,500 feet of elevation gain, so you're basically just going uphill the entire way up the valley. But once you're up at the lake, you'll be greeted with beautiful views in every direction. The peaks behind the lake are massive, and it makes for some great photos. Bree and I got in the water up here, and it was so refreshing after the difficult hike up, and if you're worried about your knees, this is one where hiking poles might be nice to bring along. At number 5, we're heading to another waterfall, and that is Butte Falls. The trailhead for this hike is just a few miles east of town on I-70, and the hike itself is 3.9 miles round trip with 1,350 feet of elevation gain. So this is another steep hike, which seems to be a reoccurring trend for Vail. All of the hikes are pretty steep and just going up different valleys. I will say that this is one of the more famous hikes in the area because of its short mileage and accessibility from town, so you will likely need to take the hiker shuttle if you're coming on a weekend or in the busy season of summer. If you were to only do one waterfall hike in Vail, this is my favorite one. And really quick, I want to share the types of videos you can expect from this channel. Bree and I met almost 11 years ago, and we actually just got married on June 6th. We met in Amsterdam and have been traveling ever since. We're big hikers, we love the outdoors and all things travel. We have hundreds of travel guides, top 10s, and hiking vlogs on the channel. We have top 10s for Colorado's Wet Mountain Valley, Breckenridge, Glenwood Springs, Pagosa Springs, Rocky Mountain National Park, Denver day trips, and so much more. So make sure to subscribe and check out our other videos that we've made from all over the world. But back to the list, at number 6, we're hiking to Pitkin Lake, which All Trails has at 9.5 miles with 2,975 feet of elevation gain. But Bree and I just did this trail and clocked in 10.5 miles round trip with a little more than 3,000 feet of elevation gain. This is a long hike with a decent amount of elevation gain, but the lake is beautiful and well worth it. We sadly didn't have the best weather when we did this hike. We got rained on and hailed on, and there were clouds hovering over the peaks of the lake. Nonetheless, this trail was still beautiful and a hike I would definitely recommend. The trail also had so many wildflowers when we went on July 4th, so this is a great one for those that love wildflowers. And next up, we're hiking to Lost Lake, which really feels like a hidden gem in Vail. We didn't see a single other person when we hiked this, but we did come up on the trail to see a large moose in the meadows close by, so keep an eye out for wildlife on this one. The main trail to hike Lost Lake starts at a trailhead relatively close to Piney River Ranch, and this route is 7 miles round trip with 950 feet of elevation gain. However, there is a shorter alternate route that Bree and I took, which is a little tougher to find, but if you look at the main route on all trails, look east of the lake and zoom in along the dotted black line, and you'll see Lost Lake 1786 campground. We drove to this, and the road was a pretty rough four-wheel drive road that was pretty muddy, but this made our hike only 1.2 to 1.5 miles with about 200 feet of elevation gain, so there is a much shorter way to do this trail, but you will need four-wheel drive. At number 8, we're heading to Officers Gulch, which is 25 minutes east of Vail. The nice thing about this is that it's a quick roadside stop with easy, accessible, beautiful views. If you like to hike, you can take a walk around the lake to get different vantage points, and this is roughly 1 mile with under 50 feet of elevation gain. On one trip where we stayed in Vail, when we checked out and drove back to Denver, we stopped here and it was the perfect morning pit stop with awesome roadside views. And we don't fish, but I will note that this is a very popular place to go fishing if that's your thing. Next up, we're hiking to Willow Lakes, which is technically in Silverthorne, but the trailhead is only 35 minutes from Vail, so it feels like it still belongs on this list. I love this hike, it's so beautiful, and the peaks behind the lake are extremely jagged and just otherworldly. It almost feels like you're in the Alps for this hike, and it's not overly trafficked, so if you're early like us, you'll have the place all to yourself. The hike is 11.5 miles round trip with 2,750 feet of elevation gain, so this is a big day on the trail, but I promise it's worth it. Last up on the list at number 10 is Vail Mountain, the most iconic peak in Vail, sitting at the top of the ski resort above town. Obviously, this is one of the most popular ski resorts and mountains in the winter, but I gotta say, it's pretty awesome to visit in the summer. You're above it all, you have stunning views in every direction, from the Gore Mountains to Eagle's Nest Wilderness and the viewpoints of Mount of the Holy Cross. In the summer, you can hike up the mountain from the village, or what's most popular is to take the gondola to the top of the mountain. From the top, you can enjoy the views and hike along a variety of different trails, and one thing you can't miss is the mountain coaster. There's so much to see and do in this incredible mountain town, but if you're looking for some epic hikes, these are my favorites in Vail. If you have any questions or recommendations on Vail or the Gore Mountains, please leave a comment down below, and make sure to also consider visiting in the fall for leaf peeping and in the winter to hit the slopes. Anyways, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out some of our other travel and hiking guides. We'll see you later.